Wow. What a beautiful, refreshing morning, you know? It's one of those mornings where I just really want to just relax and do nothing, right? And I know we all get that, but my morning this morning is going to be one where I do some things with you, and it's going to be so cool. We're going to talk about this thing of what's it called? Deception. You know, we talked about digitalization and things like that, and demonetization and so forth, and a lot of D's. My name's Dwayne, so I get into some really crazy stuff. But I want you to know that as we approach these concepts, I'm going to be, first of all, sharing the connection between that in your just normal life, and then at the same time business, because it's really what it's about here, about how do we sustain and have a better quality of life. It's not about chasing a dollar around or anything, right? So what's really cool is today's ideas that I'm going to share with you. It's another one of those D's, but it's about deception. And there's a positive way to look at certain types of deception. There's a certain deception that exists in nature. There's also, it's really important to have when you're working on the idea of like starting a business and having it be sustainable over a certain period of time. Or if you have not a business, maybe you have a product or something like that. So let me just share this with you. In nature, right, there's a hot tip. A lot of times things by its very nature, the way it's designed or the way that it's structured, it deceives you. You don't know it. For example, how many of you guys one day you got bit by something looked like it was no big deal? So you think, oh man, I got bit by a mosquito on my arm, no big deal. And then, just when you're not even paying attention, it grows exponentially. It was just like a little dot, a little bit of an itch. Then it was a little bit warmer. Then all of a sudden, the whole area of your arm turns a certain color and has rashed out. That's the power of the deception that happens in the marketplace, and this affects you, me, and everyone. This determines whether prices go up or go down, or even a product disappears. And how it can work with you, oh, we're gonna find this out together. I'm headed out to run some errands, but I want you to be with me so we can cover this idea of deception. And what's cool about deception is it's one of those things that it lays the groundwork and the foundation after it follows itself. Before we leave, I want to just say this. Before we leave, the idea that I'm talking about, if you look at MySpace, while they were sleeping, they were so comfortable and stagnant, they didn't realize the universal principle that nothing stays the same. Something either gets better or worse. It grows or it decays. And in science, we call this exponential decay or exponential growth, or we just call it at the diminishing things that the diminishing returns we use in business. We use different words for it, but nothing stays the same. So when you think about it, I'm going to mention some names. You think about how they missed out while they were being deceived when they thought everything was perfect. Kmart, on the top of their game, was deceived, not knowing that while they were comfortable where they were, slowly the numbers were growing with the Walmart. Walmart was sleeping at the wheel when Amazon came over. Now it is the leading merchandiser in the world as just like a week ago, right? I could go on and on and on. So even computers, it's amazing. Kodak, the #1 producer of digital cameras in the world, right? And the originators. What's crazy about it is how Apple and Samsung and others took over, and now it's a part of everyday life. They not only demonetized the cost of good cameras, but what's crazy about it is they deceived the entire world, where now you can their numbers have grown so far it's impossible for the Kodaks and the Canons to catch up. So we're going to talk about deception and how you can use it. So okay, I had to get that out to you, and I wanted to take a look out and get some more fresh air before I went in. So let's go somewhere together, okay? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, so don't look at my bald spot or the fact that I'm falling, right? Now I have these hats here I like to use in Colombia. During the flower festival, I like something colorful, right? These are my hats. And we like these here at the apartment. Now when I'm up at the finca, up at the, what they call fincas here They're like considered ranches in the United States. I like to wear my Western hat. This is one of my favorites. I got a darker one that I like to use, but no need for that today. It's a fresh day, and so as we head out, understand it's a great opportunity for each of us to practice this idea of deception. Don't be deceived. Catch it while it's in action. Okay. I don't think it's too long. I think it's cool, but just trust me, for the next 3 days, people are gonna say, okay, we got to the end of the year. I'm gonna get started on Monday. That's what you're gonna create by putting a close date on anything. Does that make sense? People are gonna say, okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do is, Uncle Jim's in town for the holidays, and so is Sally. Came home from college. I'm gonna spend time with them, and then on Monday I'm gonna get very serious. So what you might do is you may subconsciously kill all of your business for 3 days. A lot of companies did it for all of December. They said we're going to be on a skeleton crew for the rest of the month. We'll be there for a few things, and they screwed themselves, right? So just kind of not be ambiguous intentionally. Don't be one of those guys that's ambiguous by accident. Do it on purpose so that people don't know when the doors are closing. Make sense? If you take a look around, there's some cool stuff here in Colombia. Right now, we would be one of those motorcycle people in the middle. But we can't do that now because it's raining. I'm not going to play that game today. So we're headed into the Santa Fe Mall, and kind of crazy, but getting wet. But we got some things to catch up on, so just hang tight. Boom. Smile, see the people around me, see what's going on over here. Crazy. Traffic everywhere, but we're gonna walk through this stuff. We are now inside the Santa Fe Mall. In the Santa Fe Mall, this is one of these examples of deception. While most of the world, when you think of Medellin, Colombia, they think of Pablo Escobar or cartels and a non-advanced society. Over the last 3 decades, Colombia has moved on to be the most innovative city in the world. With so much about technology and concept, here we are in a mall that majority of the lighting, majority of the air and everything is all natural, without air conditioning, without a lot of special lighting or electricity. That's an example. So right now, we're by the elevator to where you leave the mall. And what I want you to notice, even though I'm only showing you half of my face, the people over there, before they get on the elevator, they may not remember where they park. Without giving the information up, in this country, when you go into a parking garage of any type in a mall or something, it automatically can tell you where you're parked when you put in your last 3 digits of your license plate. You click a button, you click the plate, and you put your screen. So maybe it's 231 as an example. If there's a car here, it would tell us, but it didn't find my vehicle. The cool thing about it is, it's like this all over the country. And they're just doing a great job of, while the rest of the world thinks that Colombia is all trying to sell coffee and drugs, they don't know that they're advancing globally with these great concepts around technology. So there's so many more cool things like that I want to share with you, but right now, it's time to get back to this idea of heading home and introduce you to more concepts and things that are going on right here. And yes, almost every store you find in the United States, you can find here. So, as I'm just getting in, I had a long day running errands. I want you to note something. First of all, this idea of deception isn't anything new. I'll turn my light off out there. Some other kids are being pretty loud. This idea of deception, crazy stuff. Many of you are aware of this concept of what happened before the television came on the scene. And what happened before radio came on the scene. You know, we had the printing press. moving, things were working great, you know. And while the printing press was off the charts with books and schools and universities growing around the world, along comes this concept of radio, messaging outside of the old homing pigeons, right? There's technology and things like that have moved so fast behind the scenes that those who built their entire world and their future around the current and the past, unfortunately, they're caught sleeping. And during that deception time, it brings up this thing of dematerialization, which we'll talk about another time. But today's deception stuff, oh my goodness, I think about the steamboats, right? Robert Fulton, who's Robert Fulton, the guy who brought us the steamboats, and most of the travel in the United States was done by that of steamboats. But it was always difficult come winters and things like that. And guess what happens? The locomotive comes around. And when the locomotive comes into play, oh my gosh, it's something special. It's something extremely special, because now, without limitation, they're able to actually transport more in volume, faster, more consistently, and they weren't taken serious at first, just like computers weren't taken serious at first, and the internet wasn't taken serious at first, and Walmart wasn't taken serious at first, and Amazon wasn't taken serious at first. Now you can see what's going on around you. If you become engaged and married to that of today and yesterday only, you're trapping yourself, so that you'll be left to be dependent upon someone who did insist on becoming part of tomorrow's world. So today's idea of deception, I wanted to share it with you. I love looking out at the lights in this city. That's why many of you know I was just in Palm Bay, Florida, in the other video, in my other home. But what I love about this place is, while the world is sleeping, thinking about how great things are for them now, they don't see countries like this with innovation in almost every area you can imagine. And for Americans like myself, where I'm able to do such a thing. So here's something else for you before you go. Today, kids, some of the newest billionaires are these guys who people are sleeping. The rest of the world is sleeping on them, right? The people who are growing wealth now often are teenagers creating a concept inside their home with their computers and mobile device. They're generating apps, they're coming up with concepts, and now emerging in artificial intelligence. Think about this, Uber is expected in the next 10 years to have a greater value than the country's gross domestic product. It's crazy. It's crazy what's happened just from ideas and innovation when you can plug it in and not get caught up in how it measures up today. Maybe today Kmart is on top, but Walmart didn't stop building what they were building. Today you have ideas, build them, bring them to the world. The world deserves what you have. And if it doesn't happen overnight, don't cry and whine about it. And one of the reasons I'm here in Colombia, because when I got started in all this entrepreneur stuff, a lot of the guys who were training and mentoring me were sleeping. And they got caught in a time warp. And now, of course, it's reversed. But it can happen to me, and it could be happening to me right now if I don't continue to embrace and grab a hold of the future, which certainly is this digitalization, being involved in the digital part of our world, using demonetization, and at the same time grabbing a hold of and making sure I'm following along the lines of this concept of deception. A lot of these great principles you'll find in the book Bold, which is a great read, but they're all around you. These things are all around you. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking about some other D's, like democratization and dematerialization, things like that. So be ready. But in the meantime, God bless you guys. And yes, you'll be able to see me use my same old razor again tomorrow because of that hot tip. Peace.